welcome to another episode of the NYH podcast. Today I'm joined with Craig. Now, I met Craig on a lighthouse tour that I did in Scotland a few weeks ago, and he messaged me saying he was in the area and would I be up for a podcast? And I said, yeah, absolutely. Let's jump in the studio and let's get a podcast recorded. So he's come along all the way down from Scotland today, done his meeting this morning, and now we're here to have a chat. So Craig, welcome.
Thanks very much.
Thank you for coming down.
Not a problem. Anything I can do to help, more than welcome.
Yeah.
You know? Excellent.
I think you're the furthest guest we've had travel to get to do a podcast.
Is it? That's quite a feat. Do you know, I quite like that. That's something. Nobody else come any further. I'll just be the furthest travelled. The one that just the trendsetter. It just drives through.
I'll have to put 500 miles on in the background of this.
No, I'll pass on the Proclaimers. Not taking any credit for the Proclaimers. Biffy Clyro, yes.
Yeah,
the Proclaimers, no.
We basically start the podcast with just getting to know the guest and the background, and you can start wherever you want. If you want to start from starting in the construction industry to present day, or you want to start from somewhere closer to that, I don't mind. It's entirely up to you.
Yeah, well, initially I was trained as a musical engineer when I was in college. You know, everybody wants to be in a band, so that was the love. I say to my kids, like, you know, do that as a hobby. That's my kind of advice to them, is do that as a hobby rather than I'd look at doing it as a career. My father, he was a foreman with Balfour Beatty, so I'd said to my dad, listen, there's nothing really happening music wise, is there anything that you've got? So I just started working on the tools. Balfour Beatty, kind of the usual, 7:30, 6 o'clock at night, and the typical British worker, you know, you're out in the rain all day and going home, getting your money, and then you would just drink it all at the weekend, you know. Just started making my way kind of through that and kind of working your way up from trying to get off the tools. And there was an incident that happened on one of the sites years ago, and that kind of had a big effect on me. I was always looking to get into management or looking to get into kind of health and safety, but that kind of pushed it on for me, because when the incident happened, my young son, he was only, I think, my boy was only 2, I think, at the time. So that was something that ultimately made my mind up, just to make that change and try and make everywhere a bit safer for everybody, do you know, because at the end of the day, we're all just trying to go home safe. And I think that's the most important thing, and if I can influence people to change their behaviours, then that's the best way to do it, you know, and always try and do things with a smile on my face. And I expect the guys to try and be as kind of jovial as they can, with obviously the serious element of health and safety. So basically from myself, started doing my health and safety qualifications just in my spare time. So you're doing a 12-hour shift with a marriage and 2 kids. We spoke about it when you were up in Scotland. It's not easy, do you know? And I think plenty of your listeners can relate to that as well, that it's hard being a dad as well as being a man in the construction game, and you're wet all day, and do you know, your team might be rubbish as well, your local sports team, and it's things just kind of generally get the better of you at times, do you know. But anyway, through back to work, I really worked my way up. I got a job with a consultancy through health and safety, so we maybe looked after 60 clients the length and breadth of the UK. So it was nights away from the family and a lot of travel, the likes of what I'm doing just now, but it's rare occasions. And then just worked my way up, so got a health and safety manager job with my current company. It's a HSEQ manager, so you've got your health, your safety, environmental and quality, but from myself, really the last 5 years, I've really been looking at the mental health side of it, do you know, doing courses in my spare time and just trying to see if I can arm myself with the tools to give back a wee bit, do you know. So it's like, even Balfour Beatty were a great company. I know I'm name dropping and I maybe shouldn't, but Balfour were a great company for mental health. But a lot of companies it's just a tick box exercise. You know yourself. It's it's okay to say, oh, we've got mental health first aiders, but at the same time, it's having that company ethos that everybody's in it together. And there's not many companies have got that, do you know?
No, there's not. And definitely when the big thing to take away from the Scotland tour that we did with the Lighthouse was Scotland made us feel very welcome. They made us feel very welcome, and it felt like it wasn't a tick box exercise. It was the done thing up there. It was part of the culture, or it's definitely becoming more and more prevalent within the construction industry and their culture up there. And it's a phenomenal thing to see. And we're already booked to go back up in September, so we'll be back up.
No, I'll tie in with you the next time you're up.
Yeah,
as I'd said, it's just anything that I can do to help as a person, do you know, and I'm still working full time, but I'll always make time for when it comes to health and safety, because mental health in construction is just something that it still is taboo in certain areas, do you know, and it's the buzzword that nobody wants to hear. Do you know? You mentioned mental health, and it's mental health, do you know, we're all rough, tough construction workers, we're all Man United and Rangers and all that. We're all these kind of guys, the big hairy ass men that go to football and drink pints of beer. That's what we're all about, and your feelings get put to the side. It's just it's the British culture, right? That's just how we roll as a species.
Absolutely. So you spoke briefly about the incident that happened a few years ago, and that had a massive effect on your life, both with the way that you changed your career path, in the sense you're still within the industry, but you've gone down a different route to help the betterment of the industry. Did that also start to play on your mind, on your mental health? How you think that could have been me? That could have happened to me.
I would certainly say after the incident. I mean, I think I'm not just speaking on behalf of myself. I think everybody knows somebody that's been involved in an incident at work, or you've had a really, maybe 2 or 3 really close shaves myself, and I know a lot of the boys that have had the exact same. Do you know, it's whether it's you falling down a manhole, or it's just doing silly things. Do you know, I think we've all had those experiences. Do you know, and I think from myself, it's always good to be able to relate that back to the guys, because you were on the tools yourself, so you know how it works. You know the intricacies of the men's mind when you're on site. Do you know? So it's a good thing that I always relay to the men on site is just listen, have a chat. Do you know? Stop and have a talk. And I've always been an open person, and it's always good to be as transparent as you can, because you know yourself, there's a lot of site managers, project managers, people that are just so distanced for the men. And we're all going through the same problems. It doesn't matter if you're a project manager on 70 grand a year, or you're a boy on the tools that's getting 20 grand a year, or you're making the tea. We're all the same. Do you know? It's just at different levels, and it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank. Look at Tyson Fury. Do you know? It affects everybody. And it's part of my remit is always, as I said, I've always been health, safety, environmental quality biased, but I've always had that health and well-being is really at the front of my mind, and it's just something that in the next, well, probably to the day I die, I'm nearly 40, which is quite a scary kind of proposition, but going forward, I'm just going to spend the next 40 years, hopefully, touch any wood, but it's hopefully I'll spend the rest of my days kind of preaching from mountaintops about men's mental health and just trying to break that stigma.
Was there a period in your life where you felt your mental health was pretty low and you weren't looking after yourself? Yeah,
so as I'd kind of stated a wee bit earlier, it's the British culture. It's the way that we all are. We all have a drink. It's you'll remember the mid-90s when it was Oasis and Lawrence, cigarettes and alcohol, and we were all, everything was mind, football's coming home, and everybody, even we got it north of the border as well. Obviously, with England winning 2-0 at Wembley, but we won't talk about that. It was the lad culture. Do you know? It was FHM. It was all that kind of stuff, and it was to talk about your feelings would have been, you're talking about your feelings. Are you sure you're not gay? Do you know? Unfortunately, that was the stigma that was there. Do you know, that guys wouldn't open up to each other, And you would always see it you had that lads culture, so you would go out at the weekend. Aye, but it's just one of the ones that at that time that was the lad culture. And we were all in it together, and everything looked rosy, and you remember it. I mean, Britain was booming at the time, and it was New Labour, and all the jobs were going to be great. But it's still, every time something like that happens, it just papers over the cracks. Do you know? And I've always been one of the guys that a typical boy's boy. Do you know? The weekend comes, you get the paycheck, and a Thursday. We get paid every Thursday, so every Friday it was straight to the pub.
Yeah.
Do you know that's like your God-given right as a Brit, straight to the pub on a Friday.
Yeah.
Do you know? And I think it's not until such times as you drink a Friday, a Saturday, and a Sunday, and then everybody's rough on a Monday.
Yeah.
You know yourself. I could go into any site in Britain just now, and you would get at least one person on a Monday just going. And even in an office, you would get everybody sitting there just rough, and it's just, I think with myself, it's when you start to notice that just becoming just a habit. It's habitual every weekend that you keep doing it, and I think when I get into my 30s, it just started becoming that. Everybody always says that alcohol's a depressant, and it's not until you hit your 30s, maybe mid-30s, you're going, Jesus. Do you know, and it's that thought, and I'm pretty sure there'll be plenty of guys in the building sites that are still doing the same things. Do you know? And I think when the penny kind of dropped with myself, it was after my friend had that fatal accident on site. He had that accident, and as I said, my boy was only young at the time, and I was still drinking, and it's doing the usual lad things at the weekends, and through that incident, I mean, that could have had I think it did have a negative effect on the likes of my relationship at the time, relationship with the kids. I know we'd spoken about it when you were in Scotland. It's you're a jovial person, you're a really happy person, but when you've got that in the back of your mind, you start, your behaviour starts changes, and you start maybe losing the rag with the kids, or you maybe bark at the wife, do you know? And it's when your behaviour start to change, it's time to take that step back, do you know? And we spoke about that the last time. It's just noticing that who you used to be 5 years ago is maybe changing, and you're starting to get into bad routines, and your behaviour, your moods, everything's changing. And I noticed that through a lack of sleep and hard days at work, and going home absolutely drowned in typical British weather, but then you're going home and it's, you know, the smallest thing kind of sets you off, and you just sit on the couch just wanting to watch TV and be yourself and reclusive. Whereas I've always been humans are social beasts, you know. We need to be out and having fun and having the crack. But me, towards my mid-30s, you were just going home and television on and just kind of sitting there, just wanting it to be, just wanting your day to be over so you could go to your bed. I think that was, from myself, I think I got to that point and said, you know, I think something's got to give. You know, it's got to be, it's either the family and nice, fun, happy times, or it can be the drink, and you can look at yourself in that constant state of depression the rest of your life. Do you know? And it is ingrained in the British psyche that we are weekend drinkers. Do you know? And we do go out and do things to excess. It's not like the Spanish or the Italians, and you go out and have a few wee drinks and you have your dinner, a few wee drinks, and then you're away home. You know what the British are like? It's just whack, whack, whack. It's Malia, it's all that kind of stuff. And it's just, I do see, and I was speaking to my missus about this the other day, there is a bit of a change in the British kind of society. The kind of that culture's starting to slowly but surely go away. Do you know, which is good. I think that's maybe came from COVID. Maybe people are just unsure about whether to go out, and maybe anxiety is playing a part with people not wanting to be in kind of social
surroundings. No, it does. I think there'll be definitely people that are watching or listening to this can absolutely resonate with what you're saying about being out at work long hours and coming home and having to deal with a young family, deal with the day-to-day stresses and strains of life, and having to get up and go again in the morning, and you can feel like you're just stuck in the Groundhog Day, eat, sleep, rave, repeat, and you're just constantly going around. And you can, I guess it's easy. You can see why people will fall into the trap of, I'll just have a pint, or I'll just have a couple of cans, and then 10 cans, and you're doing it every single night because it becomes a bad habit. That's what I do, and that's what I've always done, and it becomes a vicious circle. And now you've found that you've kicked that habit. Are you teetotal now?
Yeah. I think I've got the app on my phone, but I don't think I've had a drink in about 3.5 years.
Oh, well
do
done.
You know, it's just a choice. Do you know, things become habit. For as much as you're not drinking during the week, you're still caning it at the weekend, and that's just something like my dad was a big drinker and he doesn't really drink now. Do you know, there was something I was reading, and it said the changes that you make to your own life just now, they don't just affect your future, they affect your past as well. And I thought that was quite a good read, do you know, because it resonated with me, the fact that my dad hardly drinks now. Do you know, my kids will never see their dad coming home rough and waking up, sitting all day on a Sunday, just Super Sunday on, just sitting there dying the full day. So that influences my kids' behaviours as the kids get older, and then onto their kids and their kids. So it's breaking that cycle to just say, do you know, it is the British culture to go and get drunk and get mad with it at the weekend, but now times are changing. Do you know, people are trying to look after their mental health to their betterment. It's just, it is hard, and I do get that, and a lot of your listeners will feel the exact same, but it is just taking these small steps to say, I wonder if I could go a month off the drink. Do you know, I had a bet with one of my friends years ago, and we said, right, we'll stay off the drink for a month. And I think we lasted 10 days. And the 2 years we're back in the pub. And you're laughing about it as if it's a joke. Do you know? But it's so socially acceptable to go out and get absolutely bladdered. But it's good the older you get. And I would say if anybody is having a problem, do you know, just to read up and see if there is small things that you can tweak in your life. Do you know, see if there is something that maybe by reading CBT books or if there is something that you can look into that will maybe change your mindset, rather than going for a drink, you stay and have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee. Do you know, it's just getting out of those habits to say, I mean, with myself, it was going to the pub for opening time, going to the football, after the game, straight to the pub, you know, the boys, having a drink, and Sunday's the usual day of death. Just sit there wishing the ground would swallow you up. But it's what I do now is I take the car to the football. So I'll take the car to the pub, meet up with all the boys, go to the game, come back, sit and have an iron brew with the boys, or a cuppa or whatever, and then the minute I get sick of it, or the missus calls me to go home for my tea, then I'll head down the road. And it's making those small wee changes. Do you know, I used to lie and say to the boys, I'm on antibiotics, or I'm on something that I can't drink with. Do you know, that would be my excuse. And the longer it went on, people stop asking you, do you want a pint? Do you know, they just go, there's Craig, do you want a Coke? Do you know, it's that changing their mindset as well. But it's, even I still get it now. I still get the mates. I mean, I was in Seville for the football there, and the boys are going, have a pint, Craig, have a pint. I don't want a pint. Do you know, why do I need a pint to have fun? And I'm a happy guy at the best of times. I don't see why you need that drink to make you seem like a funnier person, when at the end of the day you're the clown that makes the jokes and keeps everybody laughing, and you're the guy that they look at the next day and go, bet he's rough. He's really rough. Do you know, because that was you, your life and soul of the party. I'm a life and soul of the party without a drink.
With a cup of tea.
With a cup of tea.
And a square sausage.
Square sausage with my wee bit of haggis that I was saying to you.
Can we get any more Scottish references in?
If anybody hasn't tried a rolling square sausage with haggis, I'd advise you go up north and give that a wee try.
I can confirm that they are pretty good. I had one.
A wee bit of brown sauce.
That's as long as you get the brown sauce from Glasgow and not Edinburgh.
No, it's salt and sauce. Edinburgh. Nothing against the Edinburgh.
It's not for me, that salt and sauce. But do you know what? Right, it's so. What's the word I'm looking at? I'm trying to find the right word for it to match how far you've come and grown as a person. To say that I have been through that with drink. I know it was doing this to me. I need to change. I need to make a positive change in my life. And you've done that, and you're still going to the football. You're still going out with the lads. You're still going on tour. You're doing all that, and you're just doing it with iron brew or tea or whatever you're drinking at the time, rather than getting absolutely steaming and then hanging for days afterwards. And the older you get, the harder the hangovers get.
Big time. It's even the same. I mean, last night I was at a concert in Glasgow and finished back of 11, maybe 10 past 11. But I drove down here last night and booked into a hotel. Whereas if that was 10 years ago, you'd be going out in a drink, you'd be absolutely caning it. And the way that life is nowadays, I would have been sat behind a computer screen with Teams on, just sitting going, why the hell did you do that? Do you know? But it's, and I did see it, and I still see people going out and having a drink, and the amount of people I saw last night on a Wednesday night that were absolutely bloated is just crazy. Do you know? And a lot of them went to work this morning. Do you know? Just absolutely jumped in the car. And
this is it, and it's dangerous, especially on building sites. If you're operating big, heavy plant and you've been out drinking.
No, 100%. And it's, as we say, it's just about. I think previously, I mean, when I was on the tools, say 15, 20 years ago, when I was on the tools, you were not expected to come in kind of rough or a wee bit worse for wear. But it wasn't a case of the minute you went onto site and somebody saw you were a wee bit swinging to the left, they'd have went, do you know, go home. It wasn't like that. They would say, do you know, go and brush up, or go and do something, go and sleep in the canteen for 2 hours and sober yourself up. That was the difference between now and then, whereas now people would just say, do you know what, you're clearly drunk, way home. Do you know, whereas back in the day it was more frowned upon, do you know, rather than being taboo, like, listen, catch you with a drink, it's just, it's no go, do you know?
Especially the way, like, the biometrics go on sites now. If you get caught on one site and it goes against your record, it's going to have a big knock-on effect to you further down the line. And if there was... I worked on a job, it was a big job we were on, big, massive job, and I had a phone call off the project director, and I was like, why is he ringing me? What does he want me for? He said, you need to come to my office. So the site was massive. I said, you're going to have to give me 20 minutes. I'm right on the other side of the site. So I got back, and he says, I've just, drug and alcohol have been in, and one of your lads has just blown 4 times over the drink drive limit. Jeez. This was 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So
that's crazy.
It just goes to show that it has a massive effect on people's life, and that person thought they were okay still drinking at that time. And when I spoke to them about it, he was like, yeah, no, but I'm all right. I'm like, you're not all right though.
No.
You're putting everybody at risk.
Yeah.
And I offered him the help. I said, we'll get you some help if you want. The lighthouse can come in and you can speak to one of the people on there to do with alcohol. And he wasn't interested. He said, no, I'll just leave.
Yeah.
And he left.
That was the same. One of my companies, trying not to put anybody in the knot, but there was a company that I worked with, and it was a known secret that somebody had a drink problem. And people would say to me, oh, Craig, we found a couple of cans of Tennent's, or we found this, or we found that, and I would keep saying, who is it? Can you tell me who it is? Not for... I'm just going to try and get him sacked. It was more of a case of, let me help him, let me point him in the right direction. And this went on for maybe a couple of months. Then I get the phone call to go down and give the guy a drug and alcohol test. And same again, I think it was 3.5 times the drink drive limit. The boy wasn't driving, funnily enough, but the way that I thought is to be put in that position when everybody, that was an open secret, everybody knew about it. But I didn't know, and I didn't know who it was, because the only thing I wanted to do was get the guy bloody help. And I'd even said to him at the time, I says, listen, I'm going to do the drug and alcohol test on you. Oh, that's fine, Craig, that's fine. Can you blow into this? That's fine, no problem. Do you know, nothing was a problem to the guy. Breathed into it, and the result came up. And I said to him, he says, what's that mean? I says, so you're 3 times the drink drive limit. I says, have you been drinking today? No me. So I says, right, okay. I says, I'll give it 10-15 minutes just in case. And I'll do your drug testing. So it was the fingerprint drug test. So I done that. That came back clean. And then I tested him again with the breathalyzer. And it came back, it was even higher. And I said, honestly, have you been drinking today? No me. Nah, no me, I don't drink. Right, okay, I can clearly smell cider off your breath, but right, okay. And this is like 2-3 in the afternoon, same as you were saying. So anyway, HR got involved and we had a wee chat. Well, I had a wee chat with him on the side. It's, no, Craig, honestly, I don't drink. I mean, Connie, I'm a mate. Just tell me the bloody truth. No, honestly. So HR had said to me, Craig, is it okay if you have a wee look in the back of the van? I said, no, I'm not comfortable doing that. He says, Craig, just, can you do it? And he went, Craig, honestly, have a look. There's nothing there. And to this day, I still don't know why you did it. The doors opened at the back. He walked in and he picked up cans of beer, cans of cider, big pint cans of Strongbow. And he was looking at me and he took them out of his bag, put them there, put a jacket over them, and went, there's my bag. And I went, right, that's great. There's nothing in the bag, obviously. What about the 4 cans of cider? And I went, don't know what you're talking about. And then I checked and I was like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
Do you know, but it's just that blindness to say, I'm fine.
Yeah.
But I knew from speaking to the guy, somebody had said to me that he was ex-forces, and there was a few old colleagues of mine had said to me, well, put him in touch with Erskine.
Yeah.
So that was what I'd done. I just I said, listen, I'm health and safety, I'm not HR, I'm not your boss, I don't know what the outcome will be. I says, that's kind of with my control. I can only come down here, do the test, do what I'm asked to do. I says, but as a mate, I says, do me a favour and just please get to Erskine. Do you know, there's people that can help you. Do you know, that there's always somebody that can help you. And funnily enough, he got my personal number off one of the boys, and he phoned me up the following week and he said, Craig, listen, I've booked an appointment with Erskine. And it made my day.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, absolutely made my day, because for as much as I think he left, he said he left, but that's neither here nor there. The main thing for me was that he went and got help.
Yeah.
Do you know, because drinking at 2 in the afternoon, it's no bloody use.
No, it's not.
Do you know?
And if there's anybody listening and they feel like they have members of staff or work colleagues that are like that and they're refusing the help, all you can do is just be there and support them and continue to back up what you're saying about offering support to them and letting them know that there is people out there that will give them that help and support. But if they're not ready, they're not ready, and you can't force somebody to do it. But no, it's great to hear that has had a positive outcome from that, and that hopefully that person is now on the road to recovery and in a good place.
Yeah, no, I would like to think so as well. It's I even get it in my personal life as well. And one of my friends, he's the exact same as me, bit younger and better looking probably. Lucky bugger. But one of my friends, he was the same. He said, Craig, how did you stop drinking? I said, me personally, I'd done it through reading books, I'd done it through retraining the brain, wee bit of CBT, wee bit of speaking to the doctors, to help with some antidepressants as well, to try and take the edge off. And when I spoke to him, he says, I think I've got a problem. I went, right, okay. So we were speaking about it for maybe 10 minutes on the phone, and then it was another half an hour the next night, and an hour the following night, and we just kept talking away. And I just kept making sure that it was okay. And he phoned me on the Monday, and I said, no, it was the Tuesday, I tell a lie. And I said to him, I says, where are you just now? I'm in the pub. I says, right. I said, how many pints you had? 4 pints. I said, 4 pints. I said, bear in mind, this is a Tuesday, and you were in the pub last night as well, and you had 6 pints, and you told me this. And he says, I says, you've got a problem, but you need to admit to yourself that you've got a problem first and foremost. I says, before I waste more time and put every effort that I've got into getting you help, you need to admit you've got a problem. And it's just, I've not got a problem. And I went, well, right, okay. I says, give me a call. Doesn't matter if it's a month, 2 months, 6 years down the line. I says, just to let you know that I'm here if you need me. Do you know? And that's the kind of state of play.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's funny because I saw the boy I was just for any of your listeners, I was trying to get Rob and Andy to drink Buckfast. It's a delicious
delicacy
aperitif from Glasgow. It's rocket fuel. But I was trying to get Rob to drink this to take some down the road with him. And when I met my mate, when I met him, it was outside Ibrox, and he drank a full bottle of it and just threw it to the ground and smashed. And you've got like 30,000 people round about you, and you know, to just brazenly just drink the bottle and throw it down. I'm still going to keep an eye on you, but you're going to have to be the one that comes to me, do you know, to admit that you need a bit of help.
Yeah, things need to change.
No, definitely.
We spoke about briefly before about how things have changed within the industry, and I think there's definitely, I mean, I've been in it, you're similar age to me, I've been in it 22 years now this year, and I remember turning up on site and you could smoke in the canteens, and there was page 3 all over the wall and stuff like that.
Aye.
And I think that it is massively changing as an industry, and hopefully now we're going to get to that point where we can sit here and have the chat in a couple of years' time and say, hey, do you remember when mental health was so taboo, and now it's part of like the health and safety culture is within the industry, because it's massive now.
I think that's half the battle. I think it's getting your listeners and it's getting the word out there for the guys to know that you don't need to admit that you've got a problem when you're arse up in the gutter spewing and your wife's trying to phone you. You don't need to get to that position to admit that you've got a problem. Do you know, if you're getting home at night and you're drinking 2 or 3 cans of beer whilst watching Corrie, that to me is a problem, even though you maybe don't see it as a problem. But it's just it's getting by this. Every generation had their stigma. Do you know, like with mine, it was the safety guys. Here comes the safety guys. I'm a safety guy, and I'm one of the nicest, decent people that you'll ever meet. Do you know, and the most open, I'll tell you everything, do you know, and I'll always relate to any instance in my past. If it helps somebody, I'll relay anything, do you know, and I think that was our stigma, getting to where we are just now. It's having that chat to say, do you know, the doors are always open if anybody ever needs to chat. And I think the more people like yourself and like myself that are out there and just getting the message out there, the better.
Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna, me and you aren't gonna change it overnight, but if we can keep inspiring people and helping and promoting other people to do it, they can then carry that message forward for us, and it's the ripple effect. One person becomes 2 person, becomes 3 person, and before we know it, it's ingrained in our culture.
Yeah, I would say it's a lot of the good work that they do at the Lighthouse Foundation as well. It's fantastic, and from myself seeing it firsthand, I just think with so many people that don't know about this charity that's been on the go for over 70 years, that even when we were at Motherwell, when we were at Motherwell, and we were asking the guys like how many people have heard of this charity. Not heard it. Well, do you know they can help you with this? Do you know they can help you with that? They can help your missus. They can help. Do you know, there's so much things that they can do, and it is just a non-profit organisation. They just want to help. Do you know, and it's getting that word out to people that it doesn't matter at what stage of addiction or mental health issues that you've got. It doesn't matter what stage you're at, there's people there that are going to help you.
Yeah, that's it. And you made a good point before that. No matter how deep and dark it is, it always gets better. There's always an answer, and there's always somebody who can help you with whatever it is you're going through. And the people at the Lighthouse can do that for you with the tech service, the phone line and the app. It's all there. All the links will be in the description below. And people are just wanting to help you. The people that are on the phone lines are just wanting to help you. They know the industry. A lot of people have worked within the industry, myself, Craig, Andy, people who go out and help and promote them, have strong connections to the construction industry. So a lot of us have done the same jobs as what you're doing right now. But it's phenomenal to see, and thank you for coming all the way down and making it part of your journey to come down
it's
here.
It's not a problem. If anybody loves hearing my dulcet tones, I could always come back.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
It's not a problem.
We'll have to. I tell you what, we could do. We could do when we're up in September. We'll try and meet up again. I'll have to do a part 2, and visit some of the famous. Do you know what? Right, we could do that. We could do visit your old haunts, and you could have a little snippet of a story about each one.
There you go. I could take you on a tour of Glasgow. There we go. I'll take you to the good bits.
Yeah.
I'll keep the dodgy bits away. We'll turn the cameras off.
Well, that pub that was outside that builder's merchant, was it? 3-course meal for a £5. If anybody ever goes to Glasgow, that is the Star Bar. Yeah,
I think it is right at it was the old bus depot at Eglinton Toll. Anybody wants a 5-courser for £4, batter in, be my guest. I don't think you wouldn't have food poisoning after it, but get it tore into you. It'd be good.
Put hairs on your chest.
It would certainly put hairs on your chest and wash it down with a half bottle of Buckfast.
God, can you imagine? Well, no, thank you very much to Craig for coming on and talking to us today. And if you've listened to this podcast on Spotify or Apple or any of the other podcast platforms, head over to YouTube and you can have a watch. You can put a face to our voices.
Yes, my lovely dulcet tones.
Well, we did quite well actually. I thought I'm gonna have to translate for everybody because when we were in Scotland, Andy, I was constantly translating for him. He couldn't understand. I think I couldn't understand him okay anyway.
Yeah. A wee bit.
A wee bit.
A wee bit.
Aye. Well, no, thank you very much to everybody for listening. And if you want us to talk about anything on the next episode, let us know in the description below. All the links to the lighthouse will be in the description below as well. And thank you very much. There we go. Perfect.
Excellent. Good man. No, listen, as I say, mate, anytime.